this book made me start to take my dreams seriously. The old man pointed to a baker standing in his shop window at one corner of the plaza. When he was a child, that man wanted to travel too. But he decided first to buy his bakery and put some money aside. When he's an old man, he's going to spend a month in Africa. He never realized that people are capable at any time in their lives of doing what they dream of. He never became a shepherd, and he never got to travel until he was an old man. But by then, it was a little too late. The old man continued, in the long run, what people think about shepherds and bakers becomes more important for them than their personal legends. This book, The Alchemist, is about fulfilling your personal legend, your purpose in life. It's about listening to the science and the nudges from the universe pushing you towards the right direction. And finally, it's a reminder that you need to start chasing your dreams now before it's too late, because dreams don't last forever. A lot of people consider The Alchemist as a metaphor for life, which is really fitting because it is somewhat a metaphor for the author Paulo Coelho's life. Paulo Coelho was born in Rio de Janeiro in 1947. He had a pretty chaotic upbringing. He's pretty radical, was even imprisoned a few times, but he eventually settled down, tried a bunch of different careers. He tried being a lawyer, a songwriter, and he eventually settled down and was an executive in the music industry. So he was leading a relatively normal, stable life until one day on vacation in Europe, he suddenly had this vision of this mysterious man that said that they were going to meet. And 2 months later in Amsterdam at a cafe, he saw this man in his dreams and walked up to him to strike up a conversation. The man was very mysterious, but insisted that Paulo should embark on a traditional Roman Catholic pilgrimage called the Santiago de Compostela in northern Spain. So Paulo did, and while doing the pilgrimage, he had an epiphany and realized that it is time for him to chase his real dreams of becoming a writer, which eventually led him to write this book, The Alchemist, a metaphor of his own life. The Alchemist is a mystical story that follows the journey of an Andalusian shepherd boy from northern Spain. The boy became a shepherd because he wanted to travel, and he was happily traveling all across Andalusia. But he started having a reoccurring dream, telling him to search for a treasure in the pyramids of Egypt. By the way, I just want to point out, if you haven't read this book yet, don't worry, there's no spoilers in this video. And also, it's kind of not really that kind of story anyway. It's not really about like the plot itself. It's about Santiago figuring out what his dreams mean and meeting a lot of different characters along the way, including a gypsy, an ancient king. And yes, there is an alchemist, which is like a medieval chemist who is trying to change lead into gold. Transmutation. There's also so many symbols and omens, what Carl Jung calls synchronicities, like divine coincidences that happen, which I'm really excited to go into more detail about later in this video. But yes, the overall purpose and theme of this book is the transformative power of following our dreams and the importance of listening to our hearts. To realize one's personal legend is a person's only real obligation. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. In the book, the boy is having a conversation with an ancient king called Melchizedek. Melchizedek explains to the boy, a personal legend is what you've always wanted to accomplish. Everyone, when they are young, knows what their personal legend is. At that point in their lives, everything is clear and everything is possible. They are not afraid to dream and to yearn for everything they would like to see happen to them in their lives. But as time passes, a mysterious force begins to convince them that it will be impossible for them to realize their personal legend. This is where the doubts start coming in. Maybe it's really dumb to want to be an astronaut. Maybe my mom is right and I shouldn't become an artist. How would I pay my bills as an artist? Maybe it's better to play it safe now. This part about the force is interesting. It's a force that appears to be negative, but actually shows you how to realize your personal legend. It prepares your spirit and your will. I really like the way that this is framed because I am someone that is very easily influenced by this mysterious negative force. Just like what people tell me what it is I should do, what is right, what is wrong, my self-doubt, to the point in which I literally forgot what my personal legend is, what my purpose is. Like I felt so lost for so many years of my life because I just didn't know what I even wanted to do. But looking back now, I realized that a lot of that did prepare my will to become a YouTuber, because this YouTuber career is not an easy career. There's so many ups and downs. There's been times in which you don't make any money, like depending on how the ads are doing and all blah blah blah, like all these things, the market conditions. It's about like whether people want to hear you talk or not. You can get canceled at any point. But I also know that this is my personal legend. I want to learn things, like read books, talk to people, learn all these things, and I want to share it with you guys to help you improve your life and achieve more in your lives. That is what I believe I was meant to do here. I wish I can go back in time and tell the Tina of my late teens and my early to mid 20s that this was part of the plan. Like, you are doing what it is that you're meant to be doing now. I don't think that I've fulfilled my personal legend at this point. I think YouTube was a really big step towards it, but there is so much more that right now I'm feeling a lot of fear and anxiety and being influenced by that negative force on that. Now, like, I realize that I need to stop sleeping on those things too. Like, I need to keep pursuing my personal legend. I would rate my personal legend as maybe like say 5 out of 7. It's not bad, but it can definitely be improved on. What would you rate yours? Do you want to start writing blog posts or Medium articles, but it just seems like such a hassle? Well, I want to introduce you guys to SEO Writing, a content creation tool that streamlines your blogging process. Let me just show you how it works. Go to one-click blog post. I want to do a post related to beginner AI projects. Generate title, there you go. Point of view is second person, target audience, I'm gonna stick with international. You can choose between different AI models. I'm just gonna stick with Anthropic Claude. And for humanized text, we're gonna do 8th and 9th grade, easily understood. This enhances readability and bypasses AI detection. So for details to include, I wanted to write 5 different projects where at least one relates to AI music, one relates to multimodality functions, and one uses pure prompt engineering, and one involves rap. For the images, let's go with 5 images, and let's actually include YouTube videos as well. We'll have one YouTube video, and let's place it strictly under the headings so that it's more organized. You can do internal linking and external linking if you want to increase your SEO scores, and we'll allow it to connect to the deep web so it can analyze hundreds of the most relevant websites in order to incorporate into your article. You can also include citations and source links. For this kind of video, I normally wouldn't, but just to show you what it looks like, I will say yes. There is a little bit of a learning curve when you first get started, but these functionalities allow you to create a really customized, good article. And voila, our AI projects blog post. Oh, it actually embedded my own YouTube video here as well. And you have your different projects, how it is that you can make it. And here are the citations. You can edit it if you want to, but if you're ready to go, you can click publish. It's great because once you get your settings right, you can actually make a bunch of these and then just bulk schedule them through the app itself. Definitely recommend you check it out at this link over here, also linked in description. Now back to the video. The universe will let you know you're on the right track. We normally explain events as a cause and effect kind of relationship, like I smacked my hand on this table and now my hand hurts. But a Swiss psychologist called Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity to explain meaningful coincidences and events that are not causally related. This is when 2 or more events are linked by meaning rather than cause and effect. There are a lot of synchronicities that Carl Jung documented throughout his collected works. One of them is the scarab beetle case. This is an example where Jung had a patient who was having some trouble trying to progress on in life, like close a chapter in life and move on to the next one. The patient said that they had a dream about receiving a golden beetle, which symbolizes rebirth in ancient Egypt. As the patient spoke, Jung heard a tapping on the window, and he opened it to find a large golden green beetle, a scarabid beetle, which is very similar to the one in the patient's dream outside. Jung took that beetle and handed it over to the patient and said, "Here, there's your beetle." He believed that this was a very powerful example of synchronicity, where the appearance of that beetle corresponded with the patient's inner psychological state. Another one that actually a lot of people seem to have is death premonitions. When a friend or a loved one is about to go, they would have a vivid dream of that friend. He interprets this as an event of his inner world and the external event of his friend's passing. So again, linked by meaning. Let me know in the comments if you believe in synchronicities, where you've had any. For me personally, I do feel like I'm not really the look at signs kind of person, but I admit that there are like a few times in my life, a handful of times, in which I did experience these synchronicities, like events, coincidences that felt like it was just like too coincidental. Like I felt like there was more meaning behind. For example, there's been times when I've seriously considered quitting YouTube because of how difficult things were, and I just felt like people were just, don't even want to hear me talk about stuff anymore. But there would just be like one specific comment that just exactly addresses what it is that I'm thinking. Very recently, there's a relationship which we've been going back and forth a lot, trying to figure out if we want to continue or not. And after one of these conversations, I looked down and the book that happened to be on the table was the book Quit by Annie Duke. wasn't my book either. It was my friend's book that just happened to be there. A little embarrassing to admit, but there have been choices that I've made in my life that were just based upon dreams that I've had as well. We clearly know that Paulo Coelho himself does believe in synchronicities, since he had that foresight of meeting that man in Amsterdam, which is why he went that journey. And then, that's how the Alchemist came to be. And within the Alchemist, there are also lots of synchronicities. The book calls them omens. Lots of dreams that turn out to be true, symbols of butterflies symbolizing change when Santiago decides that he's going to commit to his dream of hunting for his treasure. Jung explains that synchronicities are events that come from what he terms the collective unconscious. He believed that it's made up of knowledge and imagery that every person is born with and is shared by all human beings due to their ancestral experiences. The collective unconscious is the part of the unconscious mind that is derived from ancestral memory and experience and is common to all humankind, as distinct from the individual's personal unconscious. The Greeks had a word for this called anima mundi, which means the soul of the world. This is also the term that the Alchemist book uses. So this force, this collective unconscious, whatever you want to call it is rooting for you. It wants to help you achieve your purpose, your personal legend. And it does this by sending you these omens or synchronicities to nudge you in the right direction to achieve these things. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it, to those who heed those omens. So regardless if you believe in synchronicities or omens or not, that is up to you. But what I think all of us can take away from this is that you need to open yourself up to the world, to pay more attention to your surroundings, to go to different events, meet different people, and open yourself up to opportunities that will lead you towards your purpose in life. The heart belongs to the soul of the world. If you're someone like me and at some point you got so lost that you don't even remember what your purpose, what your personal legend is anymore, and you're kind of just like floating around, this is the advice for the Alchemist on how to get started in figuring out what that is again. Listen to your heart. It knows all things because it came from the soul of the world and it will one day return there. As Santiago continued on his journey to go to Egypt to find his treasure, the Alchemist gave him the advice to listen to his heart. He rode through the desert silently, just listening to his heart and just viewing everything that's passing by. So I think what the Alchemist is trying to say, that your purpose, it still is buried deep within you. Like you never really truly forgot what it is that you're meant to do. You just kind of, got lost along the way because of all the other things that are flooding your life. Remember that negative energy we talked about that is convincing you that you can't achieve your purpose. So what you need to do is to ignore that noise and listen to your heart. Listen, focus on the voice within you. Try to remember what it is that you wanted to do as a child. What is it that you genuinely enjoyed doing without any consideration for money or like what other people thought? What were the hobbies that you given up because people thought it was stupid? What did you used to daydream about? Santiago traveling through the desert quietly is also similar to what meditation could do. Try to meditate, try to not think about all the things that people are saying and just sit with yourself and try to see what it is that yourself, your heart is trying to tell you. If you wait too long, your dreams will die and your treasure will be buried forever. In the scene where Santiago asked the Alchemist, what if I decide to stay and not look for my treasure? The Alchemist told him that in the first year, he'll be very happy. Sometime in the second year though, he'll start remembering about his treasure and the omens will become to insistently speak of them, but you'll try to ignore them. Then in the third year, the omens will continue to speak of your treasure and your personal legend, and you'll walk around night after night at the oasis, and you'll start to feel unhappy. Because what kept you there was your own fear that you might never come back. And at that point, the omens will tell you that your treasure is buried forever. Then, sometime during the fourth year, the omens will abandon you because you've stopped listening to them. By then, you'll be a rich merchant with many camels and a great deal of merchandise. But you'll spend the rest of your days knowing that you didn't pursue your personal legend and that now it's too late. And what's so sad is that people give in to their fear and their doubts and never fulfill their personal legend. Santiago's heart says to him, we people's heart seldom say much about these treasures because people no longer want to go in search of them. We speak of them only to children. Later, we simply let life proceed in its own direction toward its own fate. But unfortunately, very few follow the path laid out for them, the path to their personal legends and to happiness. So sad. Most people see the world as a threatening place, and because they do, the world turns out indeed to be a threatening place. I'm sure that you've met lots of people who are always just so defensive and on edge about everything. They just feel like everything out there is out to get them. Everything is there just to ruin their day. So we, their hearts, speak more and more softly. We never stop speaking, but we begin to hope that our words won't be heard. We don't want people to suffer because they don't follow their hearts. Why don't people's hearts tell them to continue to follow their dreams, the people asked the alchemist. Because that's what makes a heart suffer most, and hearts don't like to suffer. So you spend your life not suffering, but also not living, and you die with regret. So to not end this video on a depressing note, if you do choose to follow your heart, this is what the alchemist says. No heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity. The boy told his heart, "When I have been truly searching for my treasure, every day has been luminous, because I've known that every hour was a part of the dream that I would find it. When I had been truly searching for my treasure, I've discovered things along the way that I never would have seen had I not had the courage to try things that seemed impossible for a shepherd to achieve." And that is why you need to start following your dreams now. I will see you guys in next video or live stream.